So now that I'm in a place where I allow for everything to show up, my dark, my light, whenever it's needed, whenever it needs to come up, whenever the savage energy needs to come out, whenever the structure, the softness, the receptiveness, the go-getter, whenever any of the energies need to come up, the fun, the playful, I allow them all to shine. And being able to be in a place where I'm feeling more whole on my day to day. I was in a place before where it was like the ups and the downs. Like I would go days in my feminine days and my masculine days, like just really like learning the energies but not integrating them all coherently. Like now that I'm in a place where they all show up as a whole, it's allowing for me to see the bigger picture of what emotional control actually is. And what emotional control actually is, in my opinion, is energy etiquette. So for today's video, I would like to talk about emotional control. Emotional control has been something that I've been practicing in my life for a couple years now on a daily basis. Around about the same time I started my spiritual journey for the most part, and it kind of kicked up more when I began my feminine essence integration, I guess I could call it, back in 2020. It's something that I'm still working on today. Like emotional control is, I believe, one of the biggest key components that a person can have in their life, especially a woman, but just in general. But again, like I said, it is still something that I'm practicing on a daily basis, because there are times where like things pop up that may trigger me or may take me to a certain place. You know, I do have like quite a highly driven dark feminine energy, like a quite highly driven, like, you know, don't play with me energies. I am learning to balance that in a way where it's the right place, right time type of thing. You know, one of the biggest things that I've learned on this journey so far is that every action doesn't require a reaction. That's the first thing, but that's like something that we all have heard before. The second thing that I've learned is energy etiquette. And energy etiquette to me is basically just understanding that every place that you go doesn't require the same type of energy, just like every person that you meet and that you may or may not have in your life doesn't require the same type of energy. When I began my feminine energy journey, it was something so new to me, so bright and shiny to me, something that was very intriguing to me, especially just being more in my soft energy, being more receptive, being able to have a certain lifestyle as a feminine woman would have. And when I began to learn about this way of living, since I was raised and brought up in a hyper masculine way, I kind of just like wanted to abandon my masculine energy and like run towards my feminine, which is not healthy, right? So when it comes to emotional control, a key component that I believe that's very important is understanding that once you make space for all of your energies, your masculine, your feminine, your light, your dark, your inner child, like all of those energies, it makes it easier for you to have emotional control. Because when you are placing one of your energies in like a shadow realm, meaning you're not allowing it to be seen, you're not allowing it to be heard, when you're not allowing all of your energies to be seen, heard, to have a space to be activated, and you're not giving them all time in the light, all time to show up, I've learned that those energies tend to act out, and that breeds a lack of emotional control. So like, for example, being in your feminine, right? So if you don't allow for your feminine essence to shine when it needs to, that can show up in ways like blocking your ability to receive and receive love, which can hurt your love life. You not being able to show up in your loving and nurturing way, which can harm your relationships. Or if you're disregarding your masculine energy, which I began to do, it could show up in very passive aggressive ways, or it can show up in ways where, again, you're just not honoring that masculine structure that's needed as a person. So you're probably not as productive as you need to be, and you're probably not getting things done how you need to get done, which in my opinion is a lack of emotional control. So just like the inner child, and that's like a really big one, like if you're not allowing your inner child to feel seen and heard and a part of your wholeness, that can definitely show up with you acting out with like road rage, anger issues, you showing up like just not being able to control yourself in certain ways. When I was in my hyper masculine, a lack of my feminine and my inner child was definitely showing up in certain ways. Then when I began to get into my feminine essence more and like disregard the masculine, a lack of that started showing up. So now that I'm in a place where I allow for everything to show up, my dark, my light, whenever it's needed, whenever it needs to come up, whenever the savage energy needs to come out, whenever the structure, the softness, the receptiveness, the go-getter, whenever any of the energies need to come up, the fun, the playful, I allow them all to shine. And being able to be in a place where I'm feeling more whole on my day to day. I was in a place before where it was like the ups and the downs. Like I would go days in my feminine days and my masculine days, like just really like learning the energies but not integrating them all coherently. Like now that I'm in a place where they all show up as a whole, it's allowing for me to see the bigger picture of what emotional control actually is. And what emotional control actually is, in my opinion, is energy etiquette. And again, like I said, energy etiquette is just understanding that everything doesn't require every type of energy for you at all times, and there's a place for everything, and everything has its place. And when you learn to navigate life in that way, it makes it so much easier, and it makes you such a much more well-rounded person, to be able to like go to different types of events and be around different types of people, have different energies for different things and different groups of people without feeling like, you know, you're just one way and you can only go to one type of thing and be around one type of person. And I remember when I was a little bit younger, I used to have the mentality of like wanting to be real, just this really dense, hard, weird energy of just like wanting to be myself. And I was this way, and I didn't want to be fake towards anyone. I didn't want to be fake in any circumstance. I didn't want to show up just like not being true to myself. But if you think about it, it's just like, well, as you grow as a person, your personality changes. That's the whole like essence of an identity shift, is that your personality is changing. So if your personality is changing, then you are changing as the years go on. So you're never going to be the same person, right? And if you just allow for yourself to think as your quantum self and think ahead of that, you realize that you can allow all that in now. Like instead of waiting 5 years to be different in this and 5 years to have been different in this, and doing it like a super masculine way of like having years and time go past for you to like be linear and like grow and expand and learn. If you think as your quantum self and realize that all of that's going to happen anyway, and like let's just integrate it all now, like let's just learn how to navigate those energies and learn how to be more well-rounded instead of like one track minded, now it becomes so much easier, you know. And then you learn that relationship energy polarity is okay, because, and it's amazing because relationship polarity breeds juiciness and fullness and that just dynamic of romance in the relationship when a masculine and a feminine energy comes together. You know, that's just for relationships. But then when you are allowing for all of your energies to be whole, you realize that you don't have to be super feminine and passive and cooperative all throughout your day. You can go, for example, I love to work out. I love to go to the gym. Like the gym is like a part of my soul. Like it's just a part of me. And when I'm in the gym, I am in my feminine because I love what I do, but I'm also in my masculine because I'm very like getting this done. Like I'm like in there like doing my thing, and that doesn't take away from my relationship, and my relationship doesn't take away from me being in the gym. And then let's say if you have a business as a woman, you can be more feminine in your relationship, more like, let's say you're in a gym and you love it how I love it, you could be more like neutral in the gym. But then when you have your business, you could be a little bit more masculine in your business. And it's just the idea of again, energy etiquette. I feel like on YouTube University and like with like feminine energy channels and everything, when I began to get into the feminine energy world, like I said before, I became so overindulged in it that I just neglected all of my other energies, and I was just like so focused on this. Now, mind you, in hindsight, I believe that it was meant for me to do it that way, because it allowed for me to get so immersed in my feminine that I was able to release a decade of trauma in a year and 2 years, because I was so hyper focused in my feminine that, like, you know what I'm saying, I quantum leaped my shadow work, I quantum leaped my inner work in a sense. So I do believe that it was important for me to do that, and it worked for me. But when you're going through life, in everyday life, you need all of the energies. You need all of it. For the trophy wives that are like doing their thing and they're like supportive and submissive and cooperative and like just loving and all of this stuff within their relationship, and they hold that feminine energy pole, and you know, they are just the being and they're the art, they're the muse. That's beautiful, and it works when it comes to polarity relationships. And if you're also a boss babe, then you know that you can use your masculine energy more in that arena. And then if you have children, you can use your mothering energy more in that arena, which is different from what you would give to your man. Hopefully we all know this by now. And you know, because I tend to see this debate and like this war on the internet of like boss babes versus the feminine polarity women. So like you see like the feminine women going, no, we need to be submissive and cooperative with our men, and we need to be like this, and this is what men love. And that is true, definitely, because of hormonal evolutionary reasons. Men that are predominantly masculine, which are majority of men, are a certain way, and women were a certain way, and it worked for relationship. But now, since we are in a time in history where we're past the passive woman that can't speak up for herself, and the passive woman that doesn't have any choices or options, or she doesn't have any way to do anything for herself, like we're past that. Now we went into the feminist era where it's like, oh, the boss babes are just like working and making money and they don't need no man and they're super independent and like all of this stuff. And like you see them two at war, like the chicks from the early 1900s and then the chicks in the feminist era are like going hand in hand. But we have to understand that we're in an era where we're meant to allow it all to exist coherently. So it's, we use it all, and that's the beauty of being a modern woman, if you want to call it, or just like a woman of today's time. The beauty is that you can have it all. You can have a man that adores you and worships you and would love to take care of you and would love to pour into you and is paying your bills and helping you out and doing the things that he does as a man. You can have that, and then you can switch into more of your boss babe energy and have your business if you so choose to, or you can switch into whatever energy. And you do see what I'm saying? It's just the energy etiquette of today's time. So yes, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. This is definitely something that I wanted to speak on because it's just a time in my life that I'm in, and I'm realizing that where I'm at in my life, like I just have an abundance of energy for so many things, and it requires different energies for me to be able to carry those things out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I had so much fun making this video. And yes, so I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.